if you guys all, did most of you guys drive in? All of you took your cars in, right?
Yeah.
So the road that you guys drove in on, you find the foundation of the hospital. You found the foundation of the convent as well. Now the hospital was not somewhere you went to survive, you went to die. So out on Rochefort Post, so way out on the coast where you guys were driving in, where all the waves were, right where you guys were driving in where you guys were driving in today, there are huge burial grounds out there, and where I mentioned those 30 bodies they found an unmarked grave in the early 2000s of those 30 bodies. It was way out on the point. So there was a lot of graveyards out there. There also was, of course, our gallows out there for the executioner, which we'll learn a little bit about later. But the house I want to mention, of course, is the one in the corner. So this house over here, it's not open today. So you see that big house over there in the dark fog with the shadow? That house right there belonged to the surgeon, our doctor here. Now, if you guys know anything about 18th century surgeons, they're not exactly Dr. Phil. In the 18th century, the surgeon was basically a step above a butcher. If anything was wrong with your leg, it was broken, most likely they cut it off. But the problem with the house is that they went to build this house, the 3 different times they went to build it, they had undisturbed bodies underneath that they had to relocate because they wanted to build the house. So there was an unmarked burial ground even there. So the house is not open today, but you can imagine for a surgeon to find bodies underneath, it's kind of ironic. Now, this house right here, there's not really a ghost story connected to it, but what happened with him is that he was the richest man in town, so, probably next to the governor. No wine bottle for him, but he used to walk around on it. He had a gift from the king. It was a horse. He used to gallop around on a horse. The problem is that he wasn't a very honest man. He was sentenced, he was found guilty of theft in Quebec and sentenced to be exiled from the entire French Empire. Only difference for him was that, of course, he was a rich man and had a nice little chateau in Paris, in Switzerland. So he spent his life there. Now we're going to talk about a few other people that were banished and they didn't spend their life in Switzerland. They were sold into the yonder abyss of dark Louisbourg, where there was nowhere to go, I guess, besides underneath. The other thing too is you can imagine in the 18th century, because our harbor is very deep in the middle, but it gets very shallow as you go in, people overestimate how shallow it gets. Because of that, we had lots of shipwrecks here. I believe it was 10 documented ones, and there probably were some more undocumented. There was one called the Chameau. You can't really see the lighthouse, but there is a lighthouse way over there as well. Some of you may have done the hike before if you're locals. Now, the Chameau, what happened was it underestimated where it was going by 300 feet. So what happened is that it sunk. There were 316 people that died aboard that ship. And they lost the king's gold for that year as well. It was in 1725. There were 180 bodies, I believe, that made it to shore, and 136 that remained in the water. There were a few more other shipwrecks. This is the most notable, though, because in the 1970s, the treasure was actually recovered by a local gentleman. So they did find the treasure there. So the ship is underneath the harbor. So one of the reasons why you can't just go diving off the wall into the water, well, it's too shallow. And also, of course, because we have undisturbed shipwrecks underneath. So I think there are probably 2 or 3 that are undisturbed underneath. They have done some archaeology underneath and researched them. Because I want to be a cool job, or an underwater archaeologist is pretty cool. So there are definitely some stories there, and there probably were some sightings of ghosts there as well, for sure. Also, of course, this whole area, like I said, this belonged to the brothers. This is where the church was supposed to be. The money never arrived. But of course, again, because it is a religious territory, it is a little bit on the Erie side as well. And the only thing that's interesting about this place is that we had a cross that was stolen by some English, and it reappeared later on. Keep going. I'm not really sure what those large vehicles are over there.